welcome to the Monday evening.
Love ball like I do. After Dark, it's a must listen.
It's where I go to get my hoops fixed.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Well, good morning, everybody. It truly is the Field of 68 After Dark on this Friday, January the 3rd, as the night of Thursday, January the 2nd wraps up. I'm John Fanta. We've got Ant Wright here tonight. We've got the coaching perspective from Matt McCall here tonight. And we've got a big night in the 18-team Big Ten. Fellas, great to have you with us tonight. We will hear from a member of the Fighting Illini a little later in the show because Illinois is on their way to a statement win in Eugene. We'll get to that later, but let's whip around the Big Ten in our A block this evening. We begin at Assembly Hall. Ant, Rutgers paying a visit to Indiana. Dylan Harper out with an illness in this game. Obviously, that is a huge, huge hamper to Rutgers and their chances in this game. Ace Bailey still goes for 39 points, an unbelievable night for the freshman. It was the most ever points by an RU freshman, the most ever for an RU player in a Big Ten game. But at the end of the day, Indiana, a winner tonight. The Hoosiers win at 84-74. They knocked down 12 three-pointers. IU, they are 2-1 in the Big Ten. What did you take from this game, Ant?
I took away, first of all, hope Malik Renew gets better. The second play of the game, he went down with a knee injury. Got to hope that he gets better. But what I saw today was a lot of purpose being played on the defensive end. I know Ace Bailey had a very good night. He had an amazing night. At the same time, it was a lot of jump shots. So contested jump shots, getting hit, you kind of just got to shake his hand and keep it moving. But I can't even count the number of times I saw guards diving on the floor, scrapping, nitty-gritty, and just by committee. It wasn't just one player. Like Miles Rice had 21. Ballo had 17 and 12. Baco has 16 and 7. This Indiana team, who has struggled from shooting this season, they got some of the same shots today, but they went in. They were, I think, 12 for 27, 44% from three shooting at home. There's a reason why they were able to score so much today, while being able to go up again. Look, this is still Steve Pikiell's defense. He was still trying to find ways to win this game, whether going zone, whether throwing in like a press. I felt that Indiana was able to attack the game from open tip to the very, very end, even throwing in a wrinkle. One of my favorite players probably all time in the Big Ten is Anthony Leal, with just how hard he works on both ends. He came in the game, and Ace Bailey had, I think, 39 on 29 shots. I think against Anthony Leal, he shot his worst percentage. And that small segment right there, I think Indiana went like plus 11, plus 12, may have just won them the game. So I think Rutgers fought hard, fought well, but outside of Ace Bailey, nobody else showed up for him today.
Coach McCall, where are these two programs at right now?
Yeah, I think, Fanta, when you look at Indiana, if they make shots, they're going to have a chance to win. And that's been kind of the MO all season long. For Rutgers, I just don't think they're a very good basketball team. And Ace Bailey, if he made a free throw, he would have gone for 40 tonight. But the loss to Kennesaw State, the loss to Princeton, who is this team? Now, if Dylan Harper's on the floor with Ace Bailey, they're going to have a chance in every single game. But there's something missing there. And they have two of the best freshmen in the entire country. There's just something missing to make this team complete. And it could be a long year in the Big Ten. But like I said, those two guys out there on the floor, when they're both out there together, they'll have a chance in every single game. They'll have a chance because those two kids are that talented. But we're sitting here January 3rd, and they're 8-6 with they played arguably the toughest schedule in the Big Ten, non-conference wise, when you look at the games that they played and the teams that they've stacked up against. So credit Steve Peichel for playing that difficult of a schedule. And you would think that maybe that prepares this team for the Big Ten, but there's just something off. There's just something missing. And, now you don't have any time to get it corrected. We're January 3rd, and it's kind of one of those things like you are who you are at this point in the season. You're not adding personnel. You can't make trades. It's not the NBA. It is what it is. So they got to get it figured out. But for Indiana, if they're going to make threes, they're going to have a chance. If they don't shoot the ball well, they're going to be just okay. So that's kind of been their MO. Like I said, you are who you are at this point in the season now that you're in conference play. And here's the other piece of it too. Now some of these teams, and we'll get into it when we talk about Illinois and Oregon, can't hide anymore. Like, it's conference play. So your non-conference schedule, and I think Illinois did an unbelievable job of scheduling non-conference-wise to prepare them for the Big Ten. Now there's no hiding. You're not buying any more teams. You can't play any more low-major teams. Like, it's big boy basketball. And buckle up because it's a grind.
It's coming. Absolutely, bro. You saw it tonight with Maryland, Washington. You see Maryland's schedule? You saw Maryland's schedule? Q's, Nova, Marquette. Those were their three toughest games, and Q's and Nova, I doubt, are going to be tournament teams this year. So, yeah, no more hiding, baby. That's why I love it.
No. Just to wrap on this game, Steve Peichel has built Rutgers on two qualities: defense and rebounding. This team is the exact
100%.
opposite. This team is the exact opposite of what his program standards are. Now, You have a fine line. You have a fine line of, you got 2 5-star freshmen, but they didn't have a whole lot of funding for the rest of the roster. They took a transfer from Monroe College on the interior, Emmanuel Bale. Steve Peichel is a great coach. He's not a good coach. I think he's a great coach. He's taken Rutgers to places they have never been. Or at least hadn't been in 30-some-odd years. Yep. This team just doesn't have enough around those 2 stars, and I'm with you guys. I mean, you think you can make the NCAA tournament. It ain't going to happen here. It's just not. On the other side, I mean, Ant, I want to get your thought on this before we get to the rest of the Big Ten. Yeah. Indiana does make 12 threes. Umar Ballo, appears to be a disciplinary thing in the previous game. He comes back tonight. He showed more want. Of course, he's going up against a weak front court, but he had 17 and 12 off the bench. Yep. 1, what determines Indiana's ceiling beyond just made threes? And 2, where do you think this team will finish in the Big Ten?
Well, they got to get to 12 and 8 or like 11 and 9 to even sniff being a bubble team. What's going to come down with Indiana, are they going to lock down and play defense? That's what it's going to come down to. Lock down, play defense, all 5 guys, not just 2 or 3. They've got to play defense at a high level. They need more from Ken and Carlisle when it comes to being that off-ball presence for Miles Rice. Miles Rice has looked really good the last couple games. I noticed it in the first game off of Christmas break. I was like, he's moving a lot faster. He's moving a lot better. I saw it again tonight too. I think his health is going to be very, very important for this. I think at some point they're also going to have to make a decision on who they're going to play in crunch time, whether it's both Kanan Carlisle and Trey Galloway, or play Trey Galloway, maybe Leal along with him too when it comes to closing games. Just continue to figure out your team. Figure out who you are, chemistry-wise. Who are you? Keep finding out who your identity is. A lot of really good teams right now know who they are. Illinois knows who they are. I think Michigan knows who they are. I think Michigan State knows who they are. I don't think Indiana knows who they are yet. And getting a win is going to give them more time, right? It's going to give them more time, get more guys to buy in, be able to understand, get more time for the coaches to see and know who exactly do we have. This team has a lot of new players and some, in new roles. Just gotta be able to keep it going and keep identifying.
All right, let's move to the other big game in the Big Ten tonight in terms of a dramatic finish. In terms of two teams that are veteran-laden. Actually, we're going to go to Eugene. We'll get to the rest of the Big Ten after this. We have a statement made. We have an absolute statement made. I would call this the second most dominant win this season, next to opening night when Gonzaga shoved Baylor into a locker. Final score, Illinois 109. Oregon 77. Oregon came in with one loss on the season, just shy of the buzzer to UCLA. They're a top 20 KenPom defense. They just gave up 109 to Kasparis Yakuchonis, to Jake Davis, to Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, and the Illini, who were ranked 22nd. But Matt McCall, throw that ranking out. They're about to go way up. Illinois beats Oregon by 32 on their home court. Coach, your immediate reaction?
I think they're the best team in the league. And I think this team, with the youth that they have out there, is only going to continue to get better. They're only going to continue to improve. They're battle-tested. They played a tough non-league schedule. They're one possession away from beating Tennessee, arguably the best team in the entire country. And they were prepared. They were ready to play. And you look at what happened in the Maryland-Washington game, you're like, oh, maybe Maryland going out on the West Coast, maybe it had an impact. But Illinois just went out there and scored 109 points. This team is for real. They're young, but their youth continues to grow up. They have the right pieces. They play the right way. When you look at Brad Underwood's teams and you look at when he first became a head coach and his journey now to being the Illinois coach, he used to run that spread motion offense is what they called it, where it was kind of like this hammer screen at the elbow. When he was an assistant at South Carolina, they ran it with Frank Martin. And he's just evolved to this space and pace, and the ball flies up the floor and 5 guys on the perimeter and middle pick and rolls, middle pick and pops, and they're difficult to guard. They're one of the best offensive teams in the country. But to me, the most impressive thing is just this team continues to get better. Their non-conference schedule has prepared them for the Big Ten. And that's what we're seeing. And what a win. I mean, that is a statement win, no question about it. We were in studio last weekend talking about who's the best team in the Big Ten. Who's the best? Who's the best? Well, you probably have to say Oregon based on the metrics, the net, the KenPom, all those different things. Okay, Illinois just went out there and they proved right now with this win, and we're not trying to overreact here, John, but with this win, they look like the best team in the league.
They sure do. And Illinois is the best net in the Big Ten. They're the best net in the Big Ten at 10. It's about to go up. A stat from Jared Burson, who does a great job. The 32-point margin of victory is the largest ever by any team in a road game against an AP top 10 opponent. The largest in the history of college basketball by any team in a road game against an AP top 10 opponent. Ant Wright, is Illinois the best team in the Big Ten Conference?
I can't say that. I can't say that yet. I think that, they are
why not?
In the top tier.
Why can't you say that?
I think they're in the top. They're in the top tier. They're in the top tier. I gotta look at it from the standpoint of, like, I watch almost probably too much Big Ten, right? I watch these teams all the time, constantly. Like, how many games have they played? 12, 13? I watched every single one of all these different teams.
Give them their flowers.
I will. I'm giving them their flowers, saying that they are top tier. They are on the top tier of the league. Like, it's them and probably.
So who's the tier? Who's in that
top
tier? Who's the tier?
This is like, wait a minute. This is like the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, where you get to pick 7 women and they advance. You got to pick like 2 or 3. Who's the top tier?
I get it. For me, I do have UCLA in there because I think they are their best defensive team. I trust their defense. I trust Mick Cronin. They just play with purpose, everybody, whether they could just D up. I like their big situation. I love their guard situation. I think UCLA is there. I also think Michigan is there as well, too. Michigan, the way that their guards have been playing with Trey Donaldson and Namari Burnett, Roddy Gale. I think, for me, I think Danny Wolf's the best power forward in the country. And then you have Vlad Golden, who has been playing like an absolute maniac since the Virginia Tech game. I trust them. If they just take care of the ball, it's infuriating. But I think UCLA, Illinois, and Michigan are all right there, that there's not really a difference for me with those teams. As good as Illinois was tonight, I have seen them give up games like this in the second half. The way that they played tonight, though, wow. Oh, my goodness. And look, this game could have been close if DGL and Jake Davis don't show up in that first half. They came out, they had, 23 in the first half?
And how much did you know about Jake Davis before this?
I have a Jake Davis breakdown. I did an article on Jake Davis for armchairillini.com saying that he had to be ready. He's not in the rotation. I said he's not in the rotation, but he needs to do the little things. From someone like me, this is me just talking about myself here. The fact that I loved my basketball journey is because I can identify with everybody on the floor. There were games where I started and I led the team in scoring in college. There were games where I had a DNP for 2 straight games, and I was everybody in between. And one thing that I recognize with Jake Davis, I'm like, you know what? He's not going to be in the rotation right now, but he's got to find ways to get better. Whether it's doing extra reps here, extra reps there, the Illinois staff is going to have to put some things into motion to make sure that he's still getting his reps. So when his number is called, I loved it. And then, DGL tonight, he's someone who I think who has settled for his jump shots quite a bit this year. I'm like, this dude's an athlete. Get to the cup. What did he do in that first half? He was getting and ones, chopping up his defenders, spin move, finishing with his left, hitting threes. I'm like, that's the DGL we know. So the fact that those two guys showed up, and remember, when they were hooping, Oregon was only down like 5, 6, 7 points. It's not like this game was always a blowout. The fact that they were able to show up to keep Illinois up 2 or 3 possessions just in time for halftime. Now Illinois studs come into the second half. First 5 minutes, boom, see you later, game is over. They're up 20. Done deal. So like even this game, you see it's 32, go back and watch middle of the first half where Jake Davis and DGL pretty much carried this team along with Kylan Boswell. Now, this could have been a game, but I think those 3 really stepped up in that first half and kept Illinois, just ahead of Oregon. And then lights came on that second half, and it was a wrap.
So here's
here to follow that up, though, Fanta. Here to follow that up, real quick. The game at Washington on Sunday.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
That like, don't lay an egg. Like, go in there and take care of business and prove that you are in the elite of the Big Ten. Like that's a big game. Like that's, we always tend to overreact with a win like this. And look, they look like one of the most dominant teams in the country with this victory tonight. But you gotta follow it up on Sunday at Washington and take care of business. Just go in. Absolutely. Even if you win by 1 point, it does not matter. Just find a way to win that basketball game. That's the most important thing.
That's a great point, man. Great point. You can't rest on your laurels off of this victory.
Here's the thing. They lost to Tennessee at the buzzer. If they had won that game, and I know we're in a land of woulda, shoulda, coulda, but you both know this. You watch the games. We watch so much basketball. It's, guys, like, to steal the quote from McCall, winning is hard. But these games some of these games come down right to the wire, and you don't know. You throw the ball in the air, and you see what happens. Whoever makes a shot, whoever the last whistle is on. But my point tonight is this. Illinois is the most talented team in the Big Ten. And it's by a margin. I'm not going to say it's significant, but it's by a margin. And that's because they've got a couple of talents that are just different. And you knew in the first half, like a lot of people were like, well, their starters didn't do much, but, and Oregon's in this game. What is that going to mean? Davis and Gibbs-Lawhorn can't keep that up. No. It's quite the opposite. It's the fact that Jake Davis, who walked into the game scoring 14 points on the entire season, had 12 points in the first half, and Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn had 11 in the first half, that they could say that they did that because when the second half started, all of a sudden, Yakachonis got going. And Kasparis Yakachonis is one of the coolest players in college basketball. This kid has serious game. He makes it look easy. He is fun to watch. Trey White had 20 and 11 in this game. Brad said this, Ant, a couple weeks ago. He said that he wanted to give Trey White some more run because he thought that Trey could really break out. A double-double for him tonight, and Humrichous had 18 points. And Humrichous seems to be figuring things out in the Illinois system. Like, it feels like, one, there's talent. There's plenty of talent, but there's also something to be said about the way that these wings, the way that Underwood schemes for his perimeter players to flourish.
He's not afraid to change things up. All of last year was, based on what they call booty ball. You know why he did that? It's because Penn State chewed him up using that. And he took it and just used it for the whole year. Next thing you know, they become what they became. So it's I like Underwood because he's not afraid to adapt. He's not afraid to adjust. He's not afraid to learn. I think some of the best coaches are the best learners, are the best listeners. There are a lot of coaches out there who are a bit stubborn, who can get kind of caught up in their ways, but watching Underwood from when he first came into the league to now, the way that he's been able to change his schematics, the way that he's been able to adjust, the way that he, teaches the game, and the way that he's been able to just change what he does from a defensive and an offensive standpoint. He came into this league doing a lot what like Shaka Smart used to do, a lot of pressing and running and trapping and doing all that. That doesn't really work in this league. Unless you got to recruit a certain way to get those certain guys. Didn't work. He made changes, recruited a little bit different. Next thing you know, Kofi comes in, Ayo comes in. Now he loves the wings. He loves the positionless basketball. So you got to give credit to him to be able to look at his roster, see what it is, and then he's going to make those changes based off of who he has, not based off what he likes to do. And I think that's a big difference between him and other head coaches.
Matt, your thoughts on Brad Underwood, what he's done with this roster. I mean, you got to remember here, you remember it well, but folks out there, this is a guy who loses Terrence Shannon, loses Marcus Domask, loses Coleman Hawkins. I mean, he had a single-digit percentage of scoring back from last year's team, and Coach McCall, they scored 109 tonight on a top 20 KenPom defense. What's he built here?
Yeah, I mean, nobody flinched. His entire coaching staff didn't flinch. He brings back Orlando Antigua, who has a track record of being one of the top assistants in the entire country and being able to recruit high-level players. I mean, you look at, some of Kentucky's best teams under Coach Calipari was when Orlando Antigua were on the sidelines there when they were going to Final Fours and winning national championships. But nobody flinched. Nobody panicked. It was like, okay, we're losing all these guys. All right, what do we got to do? Well, we got to reload, but we have to reload with players that can play for Coach Underwood. And that's what they did. And that's what's being a good assistant coach is knowing who your head coach is. Don't just go out there and recruit talent just to bring talent onto your team. Can your head coach these guys? And I think Ant brings up a great point just in terms of, a coach that has evolved. He's not set in his ways of this is how we're going to play the game. This is my offense. We're only going to play the game this way. No, he's evolved, like I said earlier, just in terms of the pace, the space, how they play on offense. Looks completely different from a Brad Underwood team from 6 years ago. It's not even close. It's night and day from how his teams used to play on the offensive end of the floor. So that's a credit to him. But in terms of their roster and piecing this roster together, That's his staff and knowing who he is as a head coach. And that is the most important thing as an assistant coach. Who is your head coach? Who can your head coach coach? What type of players does he do well with? What's their style? Not just their style of play, but their character, their work ethic. All those things that go into it impact winning. And that's exactly what this roster was assembled like, a Brad Underwood team. And they reflect his personality as a head coach.
Absolutely.
This was eye-popping. This was statement-making. I mean, on the other side here, Oregon loses the game by 32 points. Did we overrate Oregon? Are we missing something with Oregon? Was it, hey, they were offered a bag at Players Era, maybe they should be offered some more bags to win certain games? No, but they're 12-2. They're still a really good basketball team. But it does feel like on a night like this, they only made 5 threes. Their leading scorer is Nate Biddle. In other words, they haven't had that guard who's been consistently here in the scoring column. And tonight, 1, you're not shooting the basketball as well. 2, defensively, you got shredded. What did you see from Oregon? Because I asked you for your top Big Ten tier, and you did not have the Ducks in there.
No, because like I said, I watch a lot of Big Ten, and I'm still confused on where Oregon's at, because I think that they've always been a tier 2 team for me, because I watched them against Portland. Portland had them down by 5 with under a minute left in Eugene, and I'm thinking like what's going on here? Like, this doesn't make sense. They found a way to come back, win that game in overtime, and then they rattle off. They go 6-1 over the next 7 against like 4 or 5 quad 1 teams. So I'm like, okay, who's who and what's what? Keyshawn Bartholomew has been very, very good off the bench. Very, very good, especially when he was playing those games where they needed a wake-up call. He came out, he showed up. I heard a lot in the offseason about Jackson Shelstead. Where's he been? Can someone let me know? Because I was watching them. I try to get up to some of these teams in the off season, especially if I hear names multiple times. And I was watching his games last year. I'm like, okay, he's a freshman. He's doing these things. You should take another step. He's kind of the same, if not a little just less efficient. And if you're a point guard in this league, you can't do that and expect to be professional. I think tonight he had one dime, 3 turnovers, 4 for 11 on 9 with 9 points. Just not a good day. TJ Bamba, not enough. Brennan Angel is one of my favorite players, even going back to last year with just how efficient he is as a player. I feel like they just ran into a buzzsaw tonight. If you're going to have a game that's like, hey, welcome to OG Big Ten, I think this is that game. They can't lick their wounds too much, because you have a Maryland team who's probably pissed off. Maryland's coming in, right? They're probably really, really pissed off. Derek Queen just had probably his worst game as a Terrapin. Gonna have to guard him. That's a game I'm circling. Maryland. Hey, look, Illinois, Washington is going to be good, but Oregon, Maryland is a game that I am all over. I cannot wait, because loser I think goes 1-3 in the Big Ten, right? You don't want to be 1-3 in this league.
That is crazy. I mean, that's insanity right there. And you bring up the point, like, here's the thing. Oregon, they've got some non-conference wins. The win over Alabama is humongous. You're right
Texas
on there.
A&M.
Texas A&M, right? And San Diego State.
They have some really nice wins after that Portland game.
If Maryland loses to Oregon on Sunday, they're 1-3 in the Big Ten, and it's not like that non-con has a bunch of gems in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
no,
yeah, that's concerning if you're on the Terrapin side. But wow, guys, I mean that was just, I can't get enough of it, McCall, on what we saw from Illinois tonight. And it started with the bench production in that first half. That was what was so impressive, Coach, was the way that Davis came out of nowhere. And And this, Coach, you explain to the fans out there, like when you're in conference play, yes, everybody knows everybody. But there is sometimes that random dude who, you ever have that moment on the bench where you're on staff or you're the head coach and you look down your bench and you turn to your staff or vice versa. Hey, where the hell was this guy in the hotel video room?
Who's the guy from Goodwill Hunting that's in the game right now? I'm yelling at an assistant coach. Why is this guy not on the scouting report? Why did you not watch enough film to know that this guy can really, really play? What are you doing? But you know what? It's the balance. It's the depth of this team. It's the culture. Like coaches throw that term out all the time. Culture. But like when you have a culture that Brad Underwood has created and guys leave your program to go play in the NBA or whatever it may be, and you bring in guys and then there's other guys that are in your program that are developing, that's culture. That's what it is. It's not just these words you're throwing up there on the wall or on the back of a T-shirt. It's what your program's doing every single day. And for Oregon, man, it just seemed like there was no energy in the building. Everyone was still upset about getting absolutely throttled in the college football playoff by Ohio State. So let's not go support a top 10 basketball team that we have. There was no energy in the building, but to Ant's point, they got to regroup because someone's going home this weekend 1-3, and that's a tough start to league play. When all of a sudden you look at the rest of your schedule, it's like, oh wait, I got Michigan State coming up, or oh wait, I got Michigan. Oh, I got UCLA. You got to regroup, and you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You got to wipe this off. I used to have a midnight rule, like you can feel bad till midnight. Once the clock strikes, and we're now at 12:32. So if I'm on that Oregon staff, or I'm on that team, it's on to the next one. We got to get ready for the Terrapins, and we got to find a way to win this game.
The crowd sucked tonight. I thought the crowd was embarrassing to have a top 25 team come in there. And I said this to you guys. I'm like, look, you're not going to visit Cal and Stanford this year. Like when you go to Ann Arbor, when you go to East Lansing, when you go to Wisconsin, you got to go to Iowa this year. If you're Oregon, you're going to be in front of a rowdy crowd. Oregon fans have got to show up for this Oregon Duck team, or I'm not going to say it's going to be like tonight, but opposing teams aren't going to feel a lot of heat. They're not going to feel it's 6 against 5. So yeah, that was a terrible atmosphere tonight.
They were feeling bad about last night, and they were just not. They could not get over the Ohio State
boat race twice in a row.
They could not get over it.
Nobody's had a worse start to the year than the Oregon Ducks. That is a brutal 48 hours. We got a break coming up. We'll keep going around the Big Ten. We're going to have an Illinois player at some point, and we've got Pick'em. Ant Wright becomes the second picker on our Saturday slate. We'll see if he can keep his momentum rolling. There's one man that's in first place. I don't want to talk about him, but we'll get to that and more. This is After Dark.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. Now that the college basketball season is in full swing, you need to make sure that you have access to the best betting tool on the market, the Rhythm app. Spelled RITHMM, is a data-backed app that uses AI and analytics to identify inefficiencies in betting lines and the player prop market that will allow you, the user, to profit. You can create customized, analytics-driven betting models tailored to your personal preferences as a bettor. Users have access to up-to-the-second against-the-spread data. And if you're like me and you understand pictures better than numbers on a screen, Rhythm's internal trend analysis provides you with the kind of graphs that will allow you to evaluate past results and project future performance in a visual way. Every Division I college basketball team is included in the Rhythm's metrics. Free subscribers to the Field of 68 Daily will get 25% off for a Rhythm subscription. Use the QR code on the screen to sign up or download at the link in the description.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. I'm John Fanta. We got Matt McCall here. We got Ant Wright here. And guys, tonight, the Braden Smith show hit yet another level. Braden Smith tonight had 20 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, no turnovers. And he is the first high major player with 20 points, 10 assists, and no turnovers in a road win since Villanova's Ryan Arcidiacono at Marquette in 2014. So it's the most efficient performance by a guard by those standards in over a decade. Purdue beats Minnesota on the road 81-61. Matt McCall, you're shaking your head because, and I know why, because we're just watching this kid along with Fletcher Lawyer. And even though Purdue's different, even though Zach Edey ain't walking through that door, don't those two, but doesn't Smith in particular just cover up so many other things for that ball club to say, hey, we're still going to be one tough out?
Let's not forget, Fanta, 2 years ago when they lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament, who took the blame? It was those two guys.
That's a great point.
Everybody was blaming those two guys for what happened in the game. They didn't take care of the basketball. They turned it over too much. And you look at their maturation process over the last couple of years to get to this point. It was always the Zach Edey show the last 3 or 4 years. He was back-to-back reigning National College Basketball Player of the Year, rightfully so. But these two guards took a lot of heat when they lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And to see the level that they're playing at now is really, really remarkable. You want to talk about a team that's battle-tested based on their non-conference schedule? Purdue took on all comers. They didn't shy away from anyone. They said, bring all the smoke, and it's prepared them for this. Minnesota's struggling. Mike Mitchell, after he had an unbelievable performance over the weekend, really, really struggled in this game. They're going to have to find someone else besides Dawson Garcia to be able to provide an offensive spark for him. You'd think Mitchell would be that guy. He's battled some injuries, so Minnesota's not a great team. But let's not discredit what these two guards are doing for Purdue after 2 years ago took the blame for what happened in the NCAA tournament. And I remember interviewing Zach Edey at Big Ten Media Day and talking to him about it, and he was getting emotional. Like, hey, look, when I was a freshman, I wasn't ready to play. And the fact that these two guys took as much heat as they did the previous season to see where they're playing now, again, I know I said this earlier, and I'm not trying to repeat myself, but that's culture. That's what it is. That's what Purdue culture is. That's what a Matt Painter team is. Guys that get better and improve. And it's really fun to watch based on what was being said 2 years ago about those two guys.
And
I've been a critic against a lot of people who were very high on Purdue, especially this season. This team has done a really good job by, just culturally, keeping everything together. Their big three did their big three thing today, equaling Minnesota's output. I think the big three had 61. Caleb First, I am really happy for that kid because he's someone who has not been in the rotation for 2 years. But he stuck around. I know he loves Purdue. He's a very good student. But someone who was a high recruit coming in, who was able to, start. This was his, I believe this was his first start or one of his first starts this year. He played 11 minutes tonight. No, he played 31 minutes tonight 11 points and 6 rebounds. Really proud of him. I'm going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to go on the other side. This Purdue team is not going to realize a lot of goals this year until Cam Heide and Miles Colvin step up and do something. Last 2 games as starters, they were 0 with 0 points. Today, I think Painter was trying to send a message to them saying that, hey, we need you to be a little bit more. Cam Heide and Miles had promising freshman years. And one thing about Matt Painter and Purdue is that those guys have really good second-year seasons, right? Mm-hmm. Today, Cam and Miles had 5 points on 2 for 8 shooting. They rebounded the ball pretty well with 9 boards, 4 dimes, and no assists, which is always a good thing. But this team is not going to realize many goals until Cam or Miles can step up a bit. Because what's going to happen against one of these good teams is what happened against Penn State. They're going to find ways to take out either Fletcher or Braden Smith. When that happens, who's going to be that guy to step up? Is it going to be CJ Cox? I loved him starting today. But CJ Cox is probably the only other player on this roster who can create for himself. When they start playing the teeth of the schedule, who's going to step up and be there for them? And I love the big 3. It's great. But after that, it falls off a cliff. We need a little bit more from the other guys for sure.
Is that something, McCall, that can be figured out at this stage?
I think it's pretty late, Fanta. Like, we're in January, and your non-conference schedule, I mean, you're talking about a team that played against Alabama, Marquette, Ole Miss. I mean, they brought them all on, right? NC State. So you kind of are who you are at this point in the year. You can't add personnel. You can't add anybody into your team. Now, can someone emerge? It's unlikely, but it's not out of the question for someone to emerge at this point in time in the season for you on your team that you can rely on over the next 17 games or whatever it is. But your roster, your identity as a team is not changing on January 3rd. You have enough, through 13, 14 games to change your identity on who you are, or for someone else to really step up for you at this point in time of the season, unless they're coming off an injury, is difficult. It's, okay, this is who we are, and how are we going to maximize what we have on our team, maximize our roster, and nobody's better at that than Matt Painter. So I don't ever count them out. Are they a Final Four team playing in the national championship game? Probably not, but that doesn't mean that they can't get to the second weekend in the NCAA tournament or compete for a Big Ten title, because, I know they're not in Ant's top tier, and I probably wouldn't have them in my top tier either, but who knows? This thing's wide open, and you look at the standings at the top, Michigan State 2-0, UCLA 2-0, Michigan 2-0. So, look, this could come down to one game. And I wouldn't be shocked to see, Purdue creep their way into the top 5 or top 6 because of those 2 guards.
I do love the fact that Braden is taking – I do love the fact, though, that Braden has taken 39 shots over the last 2 games. I like him being more aggressive, and I think Purdue needs that. If other guys aren't going to contribute with a couple more shots here and there, I love those shots going to Braden more than anything else. I do like that, and I think that's a nice wrinkle, especially if the coaches are trying to push him to be more aggressive with his offense.
We got an upset in Seattle. Congratulations to the Washington Huskies and to Danny Sprinkle. He gets his first Big Ten win. Washington gets their first Big Ten win in program history. A team that lost to Seattle before Christmas pulls off a statement maker, 75-69 over the Maryland Terrapins. Great Osobor goes for 20 points and 14 rebounds. Zoom Diallo pours in 18. And honestly, you see Washington, one of their strengths is, the interior. And they met Derek Queen and Julian Reese tonight, and Derek Queen struggled, and Washington wins this game. Coach McCall, your thoughts on Washington? One, that crowd was pretty darn good. That atmosphere is sneaky good in this sport. Danny Sprinkle gets his first Big Ten win. Meanwhile, Maryland experiences what Big Ten teams are going to experience this year. Going out west isn't always easy.
No, and losing the game before Christmas is the worst thing for a head coach, and it impacts your entire family. There's no happiness underneath the Christmas tree opening up presents with your family because you are so consumed with what happened on the game before Christmas. And this team, to me, looks like a team that went home, caught their breath, and came back after that loss to Seattle, a focused team. They bounced back and bounced back the right way and played the game the right way. I don't know if enough people, Fanta, know about Great Osobor and how good he is and how he plays the game. He reminds me a little bit about Julius Randle from Kentucky, just this big, strong, physical front court player that can play off the bounce, can initiate offense. He can start the break. He can bring the ball up the floor. He's a great passer. Teams try to double team him. He plays with great poise in the post when he catches it down there. He's constantly looking over his shoulder to see if the double's coming. When the double does come, he kicks it out. He makes the right play. I mean, this guy is for real. And the numbers you just alluded to that he put up in this game, 20 points, 14 rebounds in a high level conference game. Look, a guy like that, he's going to give them a chance. And you just alluded to the environment they played in. There was a great crowd. This is not going to be an easy out. You're not going to look at this Washington team and say, oh, this is the team, the game before Christmas, they lost to Seattle at home. We're going to go out there and we'll be fine. This is a guaranteed win. No, this is not a guaranteed win. You better bring your hard hat and your lunch pail and be ready to play the game. And they were the better team. They were the better team in this one. And Maryland's got to find a way to bounce back because Oregon's trying to do the same thing.
Washington, a 75-69 winner. We've got Ben Humrichous coming up in just a few moments. I do want to hit on this game quickly. Penn State, how about the Nittany Lions here? They're 2-1 in the Big Ten. And tonight, Penn State, a winner over Northwestern. This game had a controversial finish. 84-80, Penn State, a winner. Northwestern had the basketball late. Brooks Barnheiser going up to even things up. And a goaltending is called as Barnheiser gets the ball back and is about to literally put the ball back in for a layup. Tough. It's by the letter of the law. Northwestern still had an opportunity down by 2 with 5 seconds to go. The inbounds play was a mess. Penn State wins. They're 2-1 in the Big Ten. They're 12-2 overall. 1, Ant, your reaction to this game. 2, Nittany Lions, tournament bound?
Penn State should be tournament bound. I said as soon as I saw their exhibition in their first 2 games, people were like, Penn State's going to be bottom 3 in the Big Ten. I'm like, there's no shot. There's no shot. Like, not even bubble. I think they're going to be firmly in the tournament this year. Another thing, I thought this game was probably the second most important game of the day for the Big Ten. I think it was just right behind Illinois, Oregon. I think Northwestern and Penn State. I am bullish on both teams big time. I think both of these teams are in that second tier. But really tough way for this game to go. Just so many fouls, so many free throws. It's just crazy. But
and I'm gonna
tough way to win, but they win.
I'm going to cut you off only because we have our guest here from Eugene, and his time.
No, it's all good. Humrichous, let's go, baby.
His time is of the essence, and it is Ben Humrichous, who had 18 points tonight in Illinois' 109-77 win over Oregon, and the Evansville transfer is with us now. Ben, thanks for joining us from out in Eugene. Congratulations. 109 points against a top 20 Oregon defense. What was the biggest takeaway from your standpoint about the way you guys played tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm incredibly proud of our team effort on both sides of the basketball. We had a lot of great plays. Unselfish offense, played with great pace. And made a lot of plays through the end. I'm really proud of how we came together and did great things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ben, what's up, baby? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Congratulations on the huge win. I do have a big question for you. You're someone who is 6'9", and you kind of feel that you float a lot, right? But today, But today you weren't floating very much. You did hit some threes. Why today did you think that it was your moment and like it was your time to say, hey, look, I'm big. Let's play around the cup some.
Yeah, I think it kind of started with just conversations with the coaching staff about maybe just my abilities and my role and looking to do more on the offensive side. And we started talking about how continuing to float on the 3-point line puts a lot of pressure on your 3-point shot. And if you could start to get some buckets around the rim and see the ball go in a little bit, it helps to take some pressure off of that. And so I think that just some communication between the two of us and a ton of work on doing that, I mean, just kind of took the pressure off.
I love that, man. Very, very well-rounded game tonight, man. Very well-rounded game.
Thank you.
Ben, you guys had 17 assists. You put 6 guys in double figures. What makes this offense and your team just so unselfish and one of the better offensive teams in the entire country?
I mean, tonight was a great example. We just have such a well-rounded, talented team, such a deep team. A lot of guys can go off in a lot of moments. I mean, we've had some guys kind of lead the charge, but we just have a lot of people who are ready to step up and do great things, and a group of guys that really believes in each other, trust in each other to do great things.
Ben, a season's a marathon. You know, it really is, and I think you embody that in some ways because let's face it, you know, you transfer into this program, a program that went to the Elite Eight, and you knew about the standards. You want to be part of those standards. What or who? I always think, you know, players always have a who. Somebody texting them, somebody calling them. Who was helping you through some of the tough times early this season? And you know, who's somebody that helps motivate you and push you every day to get to a performance like you got tonight for yourself?
Yeah. One of the things I'll tell you is I've been surrounded by a great circle. I've got a lot of great people that believe in me here in Champaign with my coaching staff and with my teammates. I mean, my family is a huge part of who I am, my family and my faith. But even, I mean, just having some mentors and trainers back home, I got a really great circle of people that believe in me. But really, that I'm just continuing to work. I mean, one of the things you'll learn about me is my faith is incredible. I believe in a big God and one that just continues to give me the strength.
Anything else?
Ben,
Great
obviously
job,
you guys aren't going back to Champaign. What do the next 48 hours look for you before you get ready for this one on Sunday at Washington?
Yeah, a lot of film, a lot of rest, recovery, just analyzing what we can do better as a team, preparing for Washington, which is a really great basketball team, and just, I mean, staying dialed in to this business trip.
All right.
Give Jake Davis a hug today, man.
I will. Jake Davis was great.
Give him a big hug. DGL too. Tell him to stay aggressive
sir.
and quit playing around.
Gotcha, sir.
What did Coach Underwood say postgame?
Oh, just he's really proud of our team effort. We had a lot of guys that made a lot of winning plays today. A lot of guys that made shots. We talk about how much defensive effort as a group. We got to be proud of a lot of great things that we've done today, and just a lot of winning plays.
Ben, you should be proud tonight. Great performance, man. Terrific win. That, I don't know if you know this, but that's the most points that a team has won by on the road over an AP top 10 team in the history of college basketball. A 32-point win at Oregon. That was a statement maker, Ben Humrichous, and you made a statement tonight. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Praise God. I appreciate you guys.
And praise God. You're absolutely right. If you want to know about the culture of Illinois, Coach McCall, I think we just saw from a guy who had struggled quite a bit tonight, he had 18 points.
18 points, gave his teammates credit, gave everybody else, deflected all the attention off himself. I mean, that's why you win. You win with guys like that are that high of character that they don't want the attention. They don't want their credit. They want to give it to other people. So credit to him. That's a big-time win. And, again, follow it up on Sunday. Doesn't matter. If you win the game by a half a point, if you win the game by 0.25 points, just find a way to win that game on the road against Washington, because we saw it tonight. it's going to be a good environment in there. And you've got a top 25 team that come Monday or Tuesday, if they take care of business, could be ranked even higher in terms of, top 12, top 10, maybe even. We'll see how much they jump if they get 2 wins on the West Coast. So find a way to get that one done on Sunday.
And if Washington gets that win, what does their net look like on Monday morning? If Washington finds a way to get that win, be able to win against a top 15 Maryland team, then find a way to win against a top 10 Illinois team, being able to have those types of games and you find yourself 3-1, the Big Ten, only 15 teams get an invite to the Big Ten tournament. I could pretty much say Minnesota is not going to go. Who are the other 2 teams? And if you have a team like Washington, who in my opinion should not go, and they're finding themselves with some wins, someone's going to fill those slots.
Oof.
Someone's going to fill those slots.
That's a very, very good point that I didn't even think about, that the Big Ten, again, is only taking 15 teams. Yeah, and Coach McCall, you know this. That's tough because you never know. The whole point of March is it's how inclusive it is to everybody. I'll tell you what, the way they're going, I'd loop Rutgers in there with Minnesota. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, a Big Ten tournament without those 2 kids? We'll see. Who's ready for picks? Who's ready for some picks?
Let's go, picks.
All right, here we go. So first off, we want to shout out our fan of the night, our fan of the picks. And he should be a fan because his name is Joe Flanagan. Joe went 9-1 in our last edition of Saturday Picks. So, Joe, congratulations from all of us to you. Happy New Year. Enjoy. Producer Dagan, does he get anything? He just gets a shout out.
Throw the guy a T-shirt or something.
What does he get? He gets a shout out on the air. Congratulations to Joe Flanagan, who McCall is probably asleep right now, but hopefully Joe sees this at some point. Let's go to the standings. Which, McCall, doesn't this seem a little fixed to you here?
Oh my gosh. One of the owners of the company's undefeated. Oh, who's picking the games? Oh, what? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on, man.
Now, I know we have to show the standings. Obviously, Ant, you're off to a nice starter. You're our first 2-time picker. So in terms of win accumulation, you got a golden opportunity here to amass, some more victories.
I just can't believe the great Jeff Goodman's not even on the board. The great Jeff Goodman's not even on the board.
Right.
Where's the great Jeff Goodman? I'm surprised they didn't just put his name up there.
He doesn't do the pickup shows. He's always right. You can play along with us if you want to win something like a shout out that we gave to Joe Flanagan, which is such a prestigious prize. You could play along with us at home with the barcode at the top right corner of your screen. And if you scan that barcode, you can play along with us now. As we get into our picks, the order is Coach McCall, myself, and then playing Lee Corso will be Ant Wright. He'll be our last picker. He won't put on a mascot head. Florida and Kentucky. Whoa. Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time at Rupp. This is a big-time game. Florida, one of 3 unbeatens left, along with Tennessee and Oklahoma. Coach McCall, who you got?
I don't want to be called a Gator homer, but I can't go against the alma mater. First of all, why is this game being played at 11 a.m.? Okay, why are we playing this game at 11 a.m.? Florida, Kentucky used to be a huge rival. I don't think anybody in the SEC thought either one of these teams was going to be any good this year. I think that's why it's the first conference game of the SEC at 11 a.m. But I got to go with the Gators. I think the Gators are more talented. I do. Super impressed with what Mark Pope is doing at Kentucky, but I think from a talent standpoint, if those 3 guards continue to play at the level that they've been playing at, I know Rupp Arena is going to be rocking. Get up, get your eggs in you, get your bacon in you, maybe throw a pancake in there for some carbs. 7 a.m. pregame meal, be ready to play, but give me the alma mater.
Give me Kentucky because the home team wins this ball game. In conference play, I'm siding with the home team more than not. I think Otago-Away has a big performance in this one. I think Jackson Robinson needs to be key in this game. Kobe Brea's shot making is important, and Andrew Carr could be a differentiator in this game. Don't get me wrong. I think what Florida's done is absolutely outstanding, and Walter Clayton is on the, yes, I said it, National Player of the Year list. He's been that good for them. They've got a stud in him. Elijah Martin's been one too, but I think that Kentucky at Rupp with their start to their season, it's good for 6 to 8 points on the gates before the game even tips off. Give me the Wildcats to hand Florida their first loss. Ant.
Give me Kobe. Give me Lamont Butler. Give me the energy, brother. Give me the energy. I just think he's the head of the snake. He's the head of the snake. He is the energy bringer. He is the battery of Kentucky. Give me Kentucky early in the morning against Florida.
Okay, 2-1 here. McCall, chance to differentiate yourself. Game number 2. It's North Carolina at Notre Dame, Saturday at noon, a game on CBS. McCall, who you got?
I'm going to take the Heels. I think that the Notre Dame fans are going to be wrapped up in what Coach Freeman's doing in the football team. I think the Heels bounce back. They need this one. This is an important one for them, so give me the Tar Heels.
Yeah, without – I mean, we haven't seen anything updating on Marcus Burton. That injury just it derailed so much of what Notre Dame could be. And any team with a great front court is going to give Carolina problems. There's not many of those in the ACC. Give me Carolina. Carolina wins this ball game in South Bend. They bounce back from the loss to Louisville. By the way, can we make this clear? It is a must-win for North Carolina. They cannot lose this ball game. And
yeah, absolutely. Get back game after dropping the Louisville one. Shrews is a great coach. I know they're gonna. I think they play Carolina tough though. I think that's going to be a decent game, but I think Carolina is going to pull it out at the end. I'm going Carolina.
All right, this is fun. I want to see if anybody has the guts to do this here. Arkansas at Tennessee. Volunteers, number 1 team in the AP poll, the top of the country in Knoxville, hosting Cal. Coach McCall, who you got?
Come on, Fanta. Thompson Bowling Arena is going to be rocking. There's nobody else to pick other than the Tennessee Vols. If you pick otherwise, I know Arkansas has some talent, but come on, man. No chance.
Yeah, this is a game where Arkansas's frenetic pace, and they're going to have to hit at least 10 threes to be in the game. Now, can they get going? Sure. Will they in that atmosphere with Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler on the other side? Not happening. Give me the Vols. Tennessee wins this game, and could win this game big if things are clicking for them, because I actually think it's a bad matchup for where Arkansas is. I think some of Arkansas's pace and franticness could play right into Tennessee's hands.
Absolutely. That's why I like Jemai Meshack and I like Ziegler to absolutely own the Arkansas talented backcourt. Too much physicality, too much defense, too much maturity on that Tennessee side. Felix Okpara, one of the better rim protectors that nobody really talks about out there. Very, very good basketball player on the interior. You can't just go to the hoop and just throw something up without getting contested. I got Tennessee at home.
All right, to the Big 12, to Hilton. I don't think I think Iowa State's been unranked, and I've never picked them against them at their building. But Baylor's there, okay? So, Matt McCall, what do you think here of BJ Edgecombe and Norchad O'Meara and the Bears going to Hilton to meet Taman Lipsey and Curtis Jones and Keyshawn Gilbert?
I got to side with the home team here. Sixth best offense in the entire country. I'm not going to go against the home team. Give me Iowa State.
Yeah, this is where a freshman guard in Edgecombe, you've never seen anything like Hilton Coliseum, especially on a Saturday. There was a part of me that wanted to take Baylor in this game, just by virtue of I think there's going to be a surprise somewhere in these picks with a road team winning a game. Somewhere, some road team's got to win. But I'm not going against the Cyclones in Hilton. Give me Curtis Jones. Give me that Cyclones team. I think he's taken such a big step. And Iowa State just too much for Baylor.
I don't think Baylor's backcourt's good enough. I think talent-wise, Edgecombe is very, very good. But when it comes to Jeremy Roach, he is going to provide a little bit of leadership there. But Iowa State, when it comes to, you guys talk about their offense, their defense is just as good. I mean, and that's such a dangerous combination, of course, right? Play good defense, play good offense, you're a good team, right? But Tamin Lipsey, I think he is one of the more underspoken guys out there, just from the way that he just gives so much defensively, his energy. I like energetic guards, if you guys haven't noticed that. But Lipsey's a very good player, along with those other guys. Yeah, man, I love those guys who just bring it. No matter what's happening, they could take he's one of those guys who could take no shots and just destroy another team's backcourt. So I'm going Iowa State.
Next, back to the ACC. One of the more intriguing conference games in this league all season, I think. You just know George W. is going to be in this crowd on Saturday, and the Mustangs, the Ponies, are going to have a good atmosphere. Coach McCall, Duke at SMU, Andy Enfield, John Shire, who you got?
Give me the Dukies. Too much talent. They're battle-tested. They've been in high-level games all season long. I like the road team in this one. I like the Dukies. You got conflicting styles, one of the better offenses in the entire country versus one of the better defenses in the entire country. Nobody talks about that enough in terms of this Duke team, how good they are on the defensive end of the floor. Rolling with the Blue Devils.
1 second.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Here we go.
I'll tell you right now here. Pony fans. Pony fans, you crack open a Miller Lite on Saturday. I'll be watching the CW. I think that's expired. Give me SMU. Give me the Ponies here on Saturday. Giddy up! Giddy up! Giddy up!
It would have been
Yeehaw!
so much more cool if you shotgun that thing. It would have been so much more cool.
I'm taking SMU. Give me SMU. Giddy up. And I'm going to ride that pony on the CW network Saturday afternoon. And the Mustangs are going to win this ball game. And they're going to win it behind Boopy Miller and Chuck Harris. They're going to shoot 40% from three. I don't know how. I don't know why. I think Duke could win almost every ACC game. But on this day, SMU wins.
That's big cap. That's big cap. That's just not happening. Not happening today. That's just not happening, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dude, SMU hasn't beaten the team with the pulse all year. They're not going to beat Duke in this game. I'm sorry. It's just one of those games where, like, hey, look, they're going to catch some team off balance. They're going to catch some team off balance for sure.
Where'd you get that at? Where'd you get that at?
What's amazing is it looks almost like the same hat he just had on. It's the big cap. It's the big cap.
Yeah, right. That's what surprised me the most. Go ahead. Why isn't it going to happen?
It's just not going to – SMU hasn't really beaten a team all year that has a pulse. Like, you lost to Butler, you lost to Mississippi State. You're just not going to beat this Duke team. They're just too good defensively, and they just don't have the guys to stop Duke's star power. I just don't see it. And as Matt said, a team that has battle-tested. They have been all over the country, neutral, anywhere, playing anybody. They've taken their licks, and they've been able to just – continue to get better, man. I just don't see this game being – I just don't see SMU pulling this off.
Look, sometimes there's games where you just say, how? If SMU's at Cameron, I think they lose by 15. I just think that they could knock down some threes. They can shoot the three. I mean, they've got shot makers. Boopy Miller could go nuclear in this game, Coach. You know he can have that. It's just like, I get it, guys. I'm with you. I hear you loud and clear. It's also pick 'em. Somebody's got to be different. I'm going to take the ponies and see if I can differentiate here. Arizona at Cincinnati, Coach. That big cap. That's amazing. That is amazing. Go ahead, Coach.
Give me the Bearcats. You got to bounce back. Tough loss against Kansas State. I like them in this one. Holding teams in the 50s, fifth-ranked defense in the country. Give me Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bearcats here too at home. They need it. They need it in a big, big way. Arizona, they got a crisis here. I just don't like where they're at. I will go with UC at home to find a way here. Simas Lukosius, Jizzle James. They do enough, and Cincinnati wins.
Yeah, I think they're really itching after that Kansas State loss. That's not a game that they should have dropped. Get that game for Cincy.
Yeah, as you know, Coach, timing is everything in conference play, which is exactly why Kansas State at TCU down in Fort Worth. Who wins?
It's a tough one. This is a toss-up. 2 7-5 teams. I'm just going to give the nod to Kansas State coming off that win against Cincinnati. They got to go on the road. Maybe they find something here. So give me Kansas State.
Letdown spot for K-State. State of Texas and I are friendly tonight. Horned Frogs. Give me TCU in this ball game. They put Kansas State in the defensive grinder, and the Frogs find a way in this one. A Jamie Dixon staple performance. And
This is one of those games that can go either way, and I just got to go with K-State. They lost 3 in a row until they were able to win their last game, and I just feel like they can just use that to go ahead and rattle off one more against a TCU team who I think they're pretty much on the same level when it comes to competition, and I just think that Kansas State at the end of the day has better players. That's what it comes down to for me.
Need Noah Reynolds to stay hot for TCU. 23.7 assists against Arizona. We'll see if he, Trazarian White, Frankie Collins, and on the other side for K-State, Brendan Housen's shooting so important. Back to the ACC, Louisville at Virginia. McCall. Louisville coming off big win.
Yep, they're going to ride it high too. They're going to win this one. They're going to knock off the Cavaliers. Give me the Cards in this one.
Yes, biggest week of the Pat Kelsey era thus far because it gets capped with a win. Chucky Hepburn and Terrence Edwards combined for a big game. I think Rain Smith is underrated, just as a player, as what he provides to Louisville. Give me the Cardinals.
I thought I was going to be different here, but you guys we're all on the same page. I also have Louisville. I just think that they're going to take their last win and move it forward. Virginia's, they've been at a rocky spot since my man's left. So I'm all in. Louisville, Kelsey, let's do it.
Let's move on to our next game. We only got a couple left. Let's see here. What do we got now? As I open back up my Oklahoma
Texas
and Alabama.
Oklahoma.
We got Oklahoma and Alabama, then Texas A&M. Let's go to Tuscaloosa. Sooners and Tide. Saturday night from Tuscaloosa. Oklahoma has not won.
Coliseum. Football team's not in the playoff. Nobody's focused on them. Everybody's focused on Nate Oates and hoops. Place is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
Give me the Tide.
Yeah, the unbeaten record for Oklahoma is one of the sport's unique stories here. But it ends on Saturday night. Not because Oklahoma's bad, because Alabama at home you can't go against. I think I'm interested to see Alabama, as the season intensifies, as Chris Youngblood fully gets his feet under him. But Sears and Grant Nelson, LeBaron Philon, who I think they need to feed even more. Alabama wins.
I think Oklahoma is going to need an absolute just like one of those, like, okay, this guy's a lottery pick game from fears in order for this to be a game. They escaped the Michigan game, I felt, because they were outplayed thoroughly throughout that game, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to escape here in Tuscaloosa. I think they're going to drop this one, but it's not going to be a bad loss. It's just going to be one of those, okay, we dropped that one. Now we can play free. We don't have to worry about that record anymore.
And last but not least, Texas and Texas A&M. McCall.
The Aggies, 7 straight. They're going to continue it. They're playing about as good as anybody in the country right now on these 7 straight wins. They've had some big ones. They knocked off Purdue during that stretch. I like what Coach Williams is doing. Give me the Aggies.
So, first off, I think this could be a really fun game. And this rivalry, being back as a conference game. Thumbs up. That's good for the sport. Texas is really difficult to figure out, in my opinion. I don't know whether to trust them or not. The body of work has ups and downs to it. As for the Aggies, Wade Taylor and Zurich Phelps do so much. Farrell Payne, if Payne is playing good basketball, he changes everything for them. And to me, Texas's offense is a little bit too much of a conundrum at times. Where scoring doesn't come very easy for them, and they don't play with a lot of tempo. And A&M will play football with you, man. Like they will mash this game up and make it smash mouth hoop. And Buzz is at home, and I think Buzz has done a very nice job with this team. I'm going with the home team here, Texas A&M, coach. And
I'm going to go Texas A&M. Texas' second best win is Syracuse by 4. They haven't really beaten anybody. You lost to Ohio State, you lose to UConn, and then it's a whole bunch of bye games. So I don't think they're battle tested. I think this is one of those games where Buzz Williams has his way. A&M.
And there are your picks. All of our picks for 10 games on Saturday. We'll have them on social media at the Field of 68. Scan the barcode above Ant's previously big cap, but above his baby blue cap there. That barcode's there. Play along. We'll post it again tomorrow. We'll post all these picks tomorrow. Dagan Hughes and Trevor Valise will work their magic so you can continue to play along with us ahead of Saturday. Do not DM us if we're wrong or if we cost you any money. Do not pick a game because we told you who we thought was going to win. Because trust us when we say, unless your name's Rob Doster, who somehow went 10-0, blind squirrel finds nut every once in a while, anything can happen in college basketball. None of us had Illinois winning by 32. We thought they could win, but they won by 32 tonight over Oregon. Toast of the night. Who do you want to toast? Ant Wright.
I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to just toast Ace Bailey for being the one Rutgers player to show up to play at Assembly Hall today. 39 points, 8 rebounds, I think 4 or 5 blocks, and he left it all out on the court.
Yeah, it's a great performance. We'll toast Ace. Way to be, Ace. Very, very good performance by Mr. Bailey. Coach McCall, fire.
Yeah, I'm going to go a different Ace. I'm going to go Ace Baldwin. Penn State. I don't think we're talking about this team enough. I don't think we're talking about what Mike Rhodes and his squad is doing, and you're talking about a guy and Fanta. I don't think this has ever happened. He legit has a chance to be Big Ten Player of the Year. He's already been Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He's already been A-10 Player of the Year and A-10 Defensive Player of the Year. You imagine if he throws this into the mix too and wins Big Ten Player of the Year? He's putting up these numbers, assists, steals, 17 points tonight. I think he had 8 assists, did turn it over a little bit too much, had 5 steals in the game. Ace Baldwin, man. Continue your run. Mike Rhodes, Nittany Lions.
I am going to toast somebody from the Summit League. Somebody who plays for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, who beat Denver tonight 91-70. I am toasting Oscar Clough. So Oscar went for 30 points and 19 rebounds. He is a guy who played at a lower level, transferred to Washington State, now transferred to South Dakota State, is older, but has a couple years of eligibility left. I believe with those eligibility changes that were made last week with the JUCO transfers. Oscar, at one point, was going to go away from basketball. His goal was then to work in a metal factory back in his home country. He was going to be a metal factory worker. Like, basketball was on the equation. Tonight, kid goes off for 30 and 19. I don't care who it's against. It was in a conference game. He had 30 points and 19 rebounds. Oscar Clough, I cheers you and your Jackrabbits. Great performance, young man. And he's got some years of eligibility left with those new rules, which we could talk about till the sun comes up. But Oscar went off. He went off tonight. I'm sure you all saw Green Bay got a freshman who's 23, 23 years of age earlier
Do I have
tonight.
eligibility left?
I don't know. Hey,
Somewhere.
I got to
You wear
check.
that- You wear that big cap on a campus visit, and you might. my friend. And Coach, I got 5 years eligibility here. Nobody's called me, but I am available.
Talk to him.
Just saying.
Tell him, Fanta. Tell him.
Give you some energy. Give you some energy on the bench. Now, by God, SMU, you better not let me down and get embarrassed. At least make it a game on Saturday, or else this whole bit will go way south for me. That's going to do it for us, for our producer, Dagan Hughes, for Trevor Valise. Illinois, Ben Humrichous, thanks for joining us from Eugene. The Illini are the headliner of tonight's version of After Dark. He's Ant Wright. He's Matt McCall. I'm John Fanta. Good night, everybody. More on this big Illinois win and where they stand in the Big Ten all throughout our platforms tomorrow.